Hello, my loves. Welcome to another reading blog coming at you from the Campfire Chair Chronicles, because I don't want to buy a real lawn chair, or not a lawn chair, a porch chair. What am I saying? This is a great start to a reading blog. Anyway, so I thought we could try something a little different this time. I thought I would film the entirety of me reading Stephen King's The Shining. I recently subscribed to Gabby Reads, I think is the booktube channel, and she does a vlog for every Stephen King novel that she reads, and I wanted to try the same. I'll link her channel down below, but one of the reasons I wanted to use this format is because personally I have been dying to make my way through a lot of Stephen King novels, and you know what, now is the time. In quarantine, this is just, I've got all the time in the world to read, and personally I love to escape this reality. And also, you know, Stephen King has a big place in my life, especially his movies, but I haven't read a lot of his books. The only real book I've read of Stephen King's is Pet Sematary, and man, that was a hell of an entrance for my first Stephen King movie, that's for sure, or book, that's for sure. So what to expect from this vlog? Basically just updates as I go through it. This is a rather thick book. We're looking at like over 600 pages, and this will be its full review. I will give you my full thoughts on this book. I will not be making another review or wrap-up video. Personally, I hate wrap-up videos, making them, not watching them. I'm not a fan, especially because I do make reading vlogs. Wrap-ups sort of seem redundant. I do like making the book reviews, so we'll see. I'm trying out this format. I don't know if I'm going to extend it to every book that I read. Might just stick with the Stephen King. Anyway, so I started this book late last night after I finished Paul Tremblay's Head Full of Ghosts, and I am in about 60 pages, and personally it is going really well. I love Stephen King's writing. I just fall right into it effortlessly. Such a good storyteller. And I will say it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, since I've seen Stanley Kubrick's movie of this book. And as I've heard, it's completely different. So I'm interested to see what happens in this book and then watch the movie later. So if I can find it on a streaming service, maybe we'll do reactions of both. I don't know. More to come. Now, as I have now talked to you for quite a bit, I'm going to talk to you for a little bit longer. I am going to keep my updates as short and succinct as possible because it will be over a couple of days to keep this vlog short. So right now we are at the part where they haven't even gotten to the Overlook Hotel. We're just learning about the characters, and my hope is that we get to learn more about Danny's shining, his ability, because you don't really discuss that in the movie. Like, I don't really understand. I never understood what The Shining really was when I watched the movies as a little kid. It had to be explained to me later, and I feel like it was very minimal in the movie. I've heard that Stephen King hates the film adaptation, and I'm about to find out why. I'm so excited. Hello, so I have just passed the 100-page mark in The Shining. I'm roughly around 123 pages, and guys, I mean, oh, I love Stephen King. We have just met a character in the book that is like the cook at the Overlook Hotel, and he's not, I don't think he's going to be a mainstay because he just left, but basically he sort of talks to Danny, the young boy, Danny Torrance, about what The Shining is. And so if you're not familiar with the story of The Shining by Stephen King, it's basically about the Torrance family, Jack, Wendy, and Danny Torrance. They go to the Overlook Hotel for the winter months so that the father, Jack, can be its caretaker because he lost his job recently and this is the only job he could get. Plus, he's a writer and the isolation will help him finish the play that he's working on. And so, like I said, Danny meets someone, a staff member at the Overlook Hotel who has The Shining, and sort of explains what The Shining is to Danny, because up until this point Danny has never met anyone with The Shining. So it's really, really interesting, and I'm reminded, because again, I've only read Pet Sematary before this, but I've noticed that Stephen King's way of world building and info dumping is very masterful. It doesn't feel super info dumpy. It mostly feels conversational and just important, and you just get so lost in the details of what he's trying to build here. It's usually always in conversation, and I mean, you know, info dumping usually is. That's how it's made to seem sort of casual almost, but I don't know. I just love his style, and when this character started talking to Danny about The Shining, I was just swept away, and I was like, whoa, I just passed the 100-page mark and I didn't even realize it. So I wanted to check in. I'll check in another 100 pages or so, but loving it so far, moving so fast. I'm excited and creeped out. Are you ready for some wholesome dog content? Yeah.
Everybody's ready? Okay.
What is that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. What is that, Max? What is that? What is that? Oh, yeah.
Give that toy. Give that toy.
Oh, Roscoe. Roscoe, what is that?
There it is. Get it, Ross.
Hi, my loves. Just checking in. I am now solidly past 200 pages. I'm actually at page 232, and I'm really making my way through this book. It does help that I took the day off today, so really I don't have much on my to-do list except to read and sort of potter about in the house. So the interesting thing that I've noticed, or rather things that I've noticed about this book right now is I continue to be amazed by Stephen King's writing. I noticed it when I started It. I'm gonna have to pick up It, the physical book, later. Listening to it on audiobook was just not working for me. But I noticed that there are similarities in the sense that his world building is just really like a layer after layer after layer, and it doesn't bore me. It doesn't feel too heavy, like he's laying it on thickly, and I really enjoy his world building. But I've already discussed that. What I wanted to talk about was just how Jack Torrance, the father, his character, and how he continues to evolve throughout the story. So if you don't know, Jack Torrance has an alcohol problem. He is an alcoholic. He's trying to sort of bring himself out of that black hole of addiction. And I do know that Stephen King himself had his own addiction problems. I don't know if it was prior to writing The Shining and It. I think it might have been, but it is interesting to see how he sort of depicts addiction in his characters. Like, they have certain tics, they have these dark thoughts that sort of spiral, and then the lure of you know, whatever they're addicted to, in Jack Torrance's case, alcohol, it comes out of nowhere. It's very obvious that it feels for Jack like an overarching sort of always there feeling of addiction, but then the strength of that feeling just sort of comes out of nowhere and hits him. And it is so sad to see, because you know that he is trying so hard for the sake of his son Danny, and for his wife for that matter. It's obvious he loves them very much, but I think part of the horror in this novel is just how there are these family members that are trying to stay together and love each other, despite dealing with serious things like addiction, and loss of jobs, and just grief overall, and how it sort of picks away at them, and then they try to piece it back together, and then it continues to pick away at them. And it's just so interesting because Stephen King really knows how to write it. And I'm sure he's been through his own fair share of grief, but I hope not to this extent, probably though. Regardless, I am enjoying this book immensely and I'm moving through it really quickly, but I'm ready for some scary stuff. They're slowly building, like it's coming, I can feel it, but I'm not scared yet. I'm not scared yet. And we're 200 pages in and some things have happened, some little creepy things here or there, but I'm ready for more spooks. So I'm gonna get back to it. So I want to be this person that during quarantine makes a million like gourmet dishes and expands my culinary sort of skills, but I just can't. So right now I'm making lunch and we're going to have, let me show you, some rice in my rice cooker. I show you. Yeah, I put some old rice on top of the new rice.
Gross.
Babe. And then I've got some chicken and some vegetables. Chicken and the vegetables are frozen, just FYI. And I'm using, let's see, and I'm using this stuff. Plant-based chicken by Tofurky. It is amazing. It is so tasty. And it is probably the most realistic tasting sort of chicken. It's like even stringy and chewy the way chicken is. I really love it. I'm super excited about it. And there is my rice cooker sounding off. Do not pay attention to this horrible mess my kitchen is currently. Do you guys ever put soy sauce on your rice? It was such a move for me as a kid and I've been feeling really nostalgic lately for it. So this is lunch. Hello my friends. So it is Friday. I started this vlog probably Tuesday day. I don't know, okay? I'm not keeping track of days. It's quarantine. Things are just hectic. Anyway, I have actually been due for a check-in. I breached the 300 page mark and things are starting to finally get that little creepy edge. Stephen King really like sort of sneaks up on you with the creepiness. And it's funny because I have the house to myself. My boyfriend went to go visit family yesterday afternoon. So last night I was reading this in bed and it got to a point where everything was really quiet in my house. My cats were kind of skittering about because, you know, they get wild at all hours of the night. And I hit like a creepy part and I was suddenly like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I sitting alone in my house at night reading this book? Funny enough, I didn't have any nightmares, but I didn't sleep very well. I don't know if that actually contributes to my restless sleep. I'm pretty sure it does. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Things are getting weird. Things are finally snowing. Like up until this point, they've been at the hotel, but they haven't been snowed in. They're not trapped yet. They still have a way out of this. And then finally the snows have hit and they are locked in for the season. There is no way of them getting to town because the snow plows don't reach where the Overlook Hotel is. And there's something like 10 feet of snow. So there's really no leaving at this point. So I have a feeling shit's about to pop off. But what I wanted to bring you here for is that my little doggy Max, if you remember my last vlog, he has cancer and he's going through chemo treatments right now. I dropped him off for a second round of chemo. And if I'm being honest, guys, I'm not coping very well. I just need some comfort food. So I'm gonna have a very healthy lunch of cup ramen. This is one of my favorite cup ramens. This Nongshim kimchi ramen, and it is vegan. It is labeled vegan right there. Also, my sweet neighbors gave me this. I didn't even know they had this, and they have like packs and packs of it. This is Loma Linda vegan tuna. I've heard mixed reviews about this, but honestly I'm not that picky, so let's check it out. I'm boiling some water right now for the cup ramen, and what I'm gonna do with this tuna is that I'm going to make some tuna sushi. Oh, it smells weird. That's not a good sign. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside. Looks real strange if I'm being honest. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'm a little nervous. It looks kind of bad, kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie. Ugh. Here we are. Let this not be a reflection on all vegan imitation meats. Normally stuff is pretty good, but I don't know. Imitation fish is kind of weird sometimes. It's not the worst. Okay, here is what we're gonna do. We're gonna try it in a sushi roll. And if it absolutely sucks, we'll just douse a bunch of soy sauce on it and call it a day, right? Okay, so I made the sushi. Let it be known that I can make sushi, but it doesn't look nice. So that's what it looks like. I made the cup ramen. This should be a pretty decent lunch if the tuna sushi isn't absolutely disgusting. But let's do a taste test right here, and then I can sit down and have my lunch while I work. So what I like to do is I like to dip this in the broth of the cup ramen, or any ramen really. So here we go. It's not the worst. I'm gonna eat it. I'll probably make more. Definitely not something I would just like eat straight out of the can, but I think with stuff, it has a very convincing tuna taste and texture, especially if you're a fan of the canned tuna. Now, I have heard there's a better brand out there called Good Catch. Have been trying to get my hands on that for a while now. Have not been able to because it seems to be sold out everywhere. But it's good. It's good. We're gonna do it. Okay, verdict. I don't like this. I ate it all. I ate the entire sushi roll with my cup ramen, but now I have this weird aftertaste in my mouth. It was good while I was eating it, and now I have this weird aftertaste that I just need to get rid of. So actually I have a mochi here. This mochi's kind of old. It says Best By April 8th. It's definitely May already by the time when I'm filming this. So I'm looking, I'm checking. There doesn't seem to be any mold, so. Yeah, tastes normal, tastes great. It's filled with red bean paste. It's so good. This is my favorite snack. And honestly, this has been sitting in my fridge for a while just because I wasn't feeling it. It can be kind of heavy, this big old thing, but it's really tasty right now, especially with that weird tuna fish taste in my mouth. I'm gonna try Good Catch. I still want to, you know, try the other brand, but maybe we won't buy that one again. Hello, my loves. It is Saturday, and I'm here to get some takeout donuts with my doggy, Max. Oh, yeah. We're just gonna grab the donuts and then maybe take a quick walk outside. It's gorgeous out today, and I'm in downtown Raleigh, and there are just some really beautiful parts to downtown Raleigh. I'll try and take you along, but it's a lot to juggle donuts, camera, and dog, so we will see. So Max and I are back home. I'm sorry I didn't get to film much of the walk, but it was beautiful, and I just didn't want to be juggling all those things. I did want to show you the donuts that I got. So these are from Lousy Hunter's Donuts in Raleigh, North Carolina. I got the strawberry sprinkles. There's a lemon, raspberry, a maple, and sea salt, and then a cookies and cream donut, all vegan. And because I know the owners very well, I'm good friends, especially with the husband. They're a husband and wife couple. They know I love horror so much, so they always write something really cute. So, Final Girl. This is, I love strawberry donuts, but I'm looking at this maple one. Yeah. Let's taste test the maple one, because that's the one that I haven't had. I've had a maple donut of theirs before, but not this maple sea salt. Oh my God. That was really good. I'm supposed to save half for my boyfriend. I don't want to. All right. Leave me alone to these donuts. Guys, I don't know what to say. That The Shining was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Let me change this setup because it's real bright over here so that you can see me properly. I have so many different thoughts on this book. My first thought is that it is a full 5 out of 5 stars for me, guys. Like, this is probably going to be one of my favorite books of the year. If I'm a little dewy looking, it's kind of warm in my house. The first real warm day. But, oh, the book is upside down. Classic. That's me. It's trademark me. This was 5 out of 5 stars, guys. And it was just... there wasn't like a dull moment in this entire book. And it's so crazy to think that there wasn't a moment where I was like, okay, wrap it up. This is boring. I mean, I feel like 9 times out of 10, even if the book ends up being a phenomenal 5 out of 5 star read for me, there is always a moment where I'm like, okay, come on. What is this like 50-page excerpt of describing someone's like home or whatever? I don't know. This just had everything I wanted. There were some funny bits, there was some lighthearted bits, there were a lot of serious bits. There were some really genuinely scary parts that I truly appreciated. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I feel ridiculous for even saying this, but I didn't think that this book would scare the pants off of me, but it definitely did at certain points, and I just fully appreciated that. My horror-loving heart entirely appreciated that. Oh, gotta tie up my hair because it's warm in here. But one of the most interesting things that I love about this book is that I think that Stephen King is very good about taking things that are relatable, like relatable existential dread, and he just turns up the volume on normal fears that are small and just makes them like Paul Bunyan sized, so that they're hyperbolic, they're ridiculous, but they make so much sense why they would be terrifying. For example, Jack Torrance, the father in this book, it was very obvious that he had a lot of different issues internally. He had his alcoholism, he had his upbringing that was troublesome. He witnessed a lot of crazy things as a kid. But one of his biggest things was he was afraid to be a failed writer, B, a failed father, and C, a failed husband. And all those pressures, like a lot of people experience that, but doesn't become a horror novel for most. But what Stephen King does in his most masterful kind of way is he just turns it up a couple notches and like basically creates this full-blown like terror-filled universe for just very simple like fears of being a failure, for example, for Jack Torrance. Does that make sense? I don't know. I just really feel like I enjoyed every second of this book, and it was just so well written, so well paced. There wasn't a boring part in the book, and I will say that it is very different from the movie. I mean, I don't remember much of it. I watched it a long time ago, and honestly, I didn't really revisit it. It's not one of my favorite Stephen King movies because, you know, it's very Stanley Kubrick. If you know Stanley Kubrick's work, I really only know him for The Shining and 2001: Space Odyssey, and personally, I hated 2001: Space Odyssey when I saw it. It was a while back. It could be worth a rewatch, but honestly, I hated it so much I may never rewatch it. Stanley Kubrick is just known for his aesthetics, like the artistic, like sort of off the wall expression. And I remember that being a big thing, like just like the big shots of the hotel, Jack Nicholson and his like really intense portrayal of Jack Torrance. And you know what? I think Jack Nicholson was a good Jack Torrance, honestly. But I do feel like you don't get as much info about Danny's talent, his shining. You don't get much about the wife, Wendy. And you just don't get much insight into what exactly makes Jack Torrance tick in the movie. And, you know, that's to be expected. The movie is just the most cut down version of any book. But man, I feel like I did well by watching the movie first in my lifetime and then reading the book second, because I appreciate The Shining so much more now that I've read the book. It's just, I just don't know what to say. This was so good. This was so good. Okay, guys, I'm gonna cut it off here because I've been talking to you for a while. I hope you enjoyed this full length, like all one book reading vlog, and if you did, let me know down in the comments below. I will definitely try to do this with Stephen King books, but if you want me to do it with just more books in general, let me know, and I'm into it. I will definitely try things for you guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps my channel, and hit that notification bell, subscribe, so you guys always know when I've got good things coming to you. Bye, y'all.